Base Kingdom Hearts 3 was a good game that had very obvious potential to be great. I had issues with the combat, the lack of a challenge, and missing story elements. But over a year later, with a few more playthroughs, 1.9 patch, and the Remind DLC, I can genuinely say that Kingdom Hearts 3 is an overall great game, but also in certain cases is an amazing one depending on your taste. Starting with the combat, Base Kingdom Hearts 3 was not exactly the most fun game to play from prior experience with the series. I assume that a lot of people wanted Kingdom Hearts 3 to be above and beyond what we have gotten in the past, and to rise to the level of what a lot of people consider to be the golden standard within the series, which is Kingdom Hearts 2. Just to give you a bit of my personal perspective, people were split on the combat being fine because most of the people who were saying this were people who had never played the Kingdom Hearts games on harder difficulties, especially critical mode. And when you play a game on easier difficulties, you tend to miss out on some of the nuances that the combat system has. And when it comes to Kingdom Hearts games on lower difficulties, it usually becomes press X to win for the most part, so a lot of people ended up debating a topic that they didn't have enough knowledge on in the first place. But my entire issue with this debate is that Kingdom Hearts 2 was a game that we all enjoyed, but in Kingdom Hearts 3 it was a game that only casual players enjoyed because people who played on harder difficulties could see the issues with the combat system and what problems could arise from that when harder difficulties or even harder enemies were implemented into the game through patches or even DLC. But the debates continued until Square Enix dropped the 1.9 patch, which gave us all combos that we enjoyed. The update gave us snappier combos and made the hitbox on Magic Flash a lot easier to see. We also got multiple combo modifiers with a new combo finisher to cap it off. This is far and above better than what we have gotten when the game first came out, and hopefully this is a sign that the Osaka team is finally starting to master Kingdom Hearts combat, because I haven't seen one person who played the new update genuinely like the old combos over the new ones. And the funniest thing on top of this is that you can still use the old combos and go through the limit cut episode, but I guarantee you that you won't have a very fun time doing that. And with all that being considered, the combat has gone from being okay to exceptional. So what missing content within the game am I specifically talking about? The cutscenes, content that would have given us more context to certain things within the game. There are only 4 cutscenes that I feel like should have been added within the base game. Starting with Luxord questioning Lucio about the black box, and that would have given Luxord some intrigue and give us something to theorize about. Moving on from there, the next cutscene that I feel like should have been within the base game was the cutscene with Master Xeno explaining to Lucio how they are going to fill up the ranks of the true Organization 13, with him explaining how Xion was going to come back and how her data was in Vexen's computer and he just recreated her from that data. The third cutscene that should have been within the base game was Cherfi's explanation of what Sora is going to be doing with the power of waking and how he is using that power improperly, and by using that power improperly he is breaking a nature taboo, and by breaking the nature taboo he is going to disappear from this world, and that would have made the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 a lot less confusing to some people. Now the last cutscene where Xemnas kicked Xion into Sora and we literally see the memories leaving Sora and Roxas and going back into her and everyone else, therefore adding her back into everyone's memories. But other than those few cutscenes, everything else within the Remind DLC feels like it should have been DLC, because the main story of Remind just wouldn't have fit within base Kingdom Hearts 3 and would have been hard to incorporate. And while we are on the topic of missing content, I do agree that it sucks that we didn't get a second secret boss within the base game of Kingdom Hearts 3, and the only somewhat difficult secret boss that we got was the Dark Inferno. But the Dark Inferno is one of the easiest super bosses in the entire series, with the only secret boss being under him in my personal opinion being Julius from Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. But overall, even though Kingdom Hearts 3's base game was lacking in the secret boss department and the fact that we never got tournaments at Olympus, the post game is pretty good in my opinion. There was synthesis quests to do with taking photos of certain allies, enemies, and locations. Also, we had the Flan minigames, getting the restaurant to 5 stars, and last but not least, finishing off the gummy missions if you didn't already complete those before finishing off the main game. There were plenty of things to do after Kingdom Hearts 3 was completed, and I feel like the Limit Cut episode within the Remind DLC gave us that last puzzle piece to take this game from just being good to making it great. Now, getting into the last part of this video, tackling the lack of a challenge. KH3 originally didn't have that much of a challenge in it. But with the addition of the data bosses within the Remind DLC, specifically in the Limit Cut episode, the Osaka team has crafted the best bosses they have ever made within this series. And if you are a fan of the one-on-one humanoid boss fights within the Kingdom Hearts series, which are my personal favorite part of it, you are not going to be disappointed at all. Even some of the weaker bosses like Young Xanor, Loxine, Luxord, and Lucio, in my personal opinion, are on par with Zodiac Aqua, who was a bright spot in 0.2 A Fragmentary Passage. Not to say that the ones we already had were bad or anything, it's just that I was disappointed when I didn't get to fight any of the true Organization 13 one-on-one, with the exception of Master Xanord. The thing is, when we get into these multi-boss battles, they were designed with all of the members working in unison. So when you defeat one of the enemies in the boss battle, the fight kind of falls apart because these enemies didn't have fully flushed out movesets, so the boss battles ended up degrading into unfulfilled opportunities. Not to mention that I felt like every character should have had their own boss battle, but I can forgive this because I can understand at the end of the game, fighting each of the 13 members of the true organization would have been a bit slow at the end of the game. And another reason I can forgive it is because they expand every single one of these characters' movesets, including Master Xanor himself, in the Limit Cut episode. And with the addition of Yozora, the Osaka team gives us 14 bosses on the same level as the KH2 Datas and the Lingering Will. After it's all said and done, and I have more time with it, the KH3 data battles may end up being better than KH2's. All of these bosses have their unique things that they want to test out, like Loxine's insane speed, Marluxia's doom counter, Lucio with a crazy amount of beams on the screen at one time, Dark Riku's mines, and the moment you figure out how to deal with all of these things is absolutely amazing. They gave me everything that I wanted out of really challenging boss fights. They made me have to sit back and analyze what I was doing wrong and assess the fact that the boss wasn't too hard, it's just that I wasn't dealing with it properly. And quickly talking about the secret episode, while I have not beaten it yet, it makes the future of the Kingdom Hearts bosses much more exciting. Now, because Yozora has unusual openings that you don't usually see within Kingdom Hearts games, because for the most part it's very obvious, even with the datas, where the openings are once you find them. But when it comes to Yozora, he's a bit different and you genuinely have to try and stop him from attacking you in order to get some damage off here and there. And that's not to say that he doesn't have openings, it's just that his openings in a sense are a lot tighter and a lot stricter than most bosses within the series. The Osaka team has made me excited for what's coming next in the series. My initial opinion of Kingdom Hearts 3 is that I thought it was a pretty good game, but it was missing some aspects, and I literally said that if this game gets something to the equivalent of a final mix, it will most likely be on the level of Kingdom Hearts 2 or maybe even better. And as of right now, I have to say that Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind has done that. It feels so good to say that after a decade of never getting a game that quite reaches those heights, it feels good to admit that there is a game on par with my favorite game in the series and one of my top 10 games of all time. Kingdom Hearts 3's combat is fun, the game is a challenge for those who wanted it, and the missing story elements have been fixed. So with all of that being said, that's how Kingdom Hearts 3 became great. Thank you for making it to the end of this video, you guys. With that being said, this is kind of a preview as to what's going to be coming in the future with my channel, more scripted content, analyzing video games, and just talking about certain topics that I feel like need to be discussed because I don't see other people discussing them. With that being said, it doesn't mean news and other content on this channel that has been on here previously is going away. You're going to be getting more reactions kind of akin to what we saw with Kingdom Hearts Remind and Final Fantasy VII, so look out for those videos. And occasionally I will talk about news on this channel if it is something that I am really interested in, like the Kingdom Hearts Ordinary series. And maybe even eventually I'll do big month-long compilation videos talking about the biggest news in gaming or even anime within that month. But with all that being said, if you want to see more content like this and be notified about it, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Comment as well as what you think. But with that being said, if you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe, leave a like on the video, and last but not least, leave a comment telling me about what your favorite part about Kingdom Hearts 3 was, whether it was in the Remind DLC or in the base game. And if you want to see videos similar to this one, I have a playlist on the screen right now. So with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.